It's strange, isn't it? How one idea, one simple sentence, one single moment can take a person 25 years into truly understand. Yet it can take you only a few minutes to grasp if you're willing to listen. Jim Rohn used to say, "My mentor gave me a simple set of ideas that changed my life forever. The only difference was I was finally ready to hear them." Today's video carries that same spirit, because the truth is simple. Most people wander for decades, searching for lessons they could have learned in 1 hour, if only they were open, prepared, and willing. So let me ask you, what if the next few minutes sharpen your vision for the next few decades? What if this is the moment that opens your eyes to a path you didn't know was possible? Let's begin with the first lesson Jim spent years trying to understand. Your life only gets better when you get better. Jim Rohn said it plainly. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but the power behind it is enormous. Most people wait for life to adjust. They wait for better luck, a better economy, a better boss. They wait and wait and wait. But achievers understand something different. They stop asking life to lighten its load, and they start strengthening their own shoulders. Let me give you a story. A young man once asked a wealthy farmer, "Why do your crops always thrive while the rest of ours struggle?" The farmer replied, "Because I stopped blaming the weather 20 years ago." Isn't that interesting? Some people study the forecast, others study themselves. Let me ask you, where have you been waiting for something to change instead of becoming the person who changes it? The day you take responsibility is the day you become free. Jim Rohn said the moment he accepted full responsibility for his life, everything changed, almost overnight. Not because the world changed, but because he did. Responsibility isn't a burden, it's freedom. When you blame others, you hand your power away. When you blame the past, you freeze your future. When you blame circumstances, you become small enough for circumstances to control. But when you take responsibility, even for the things that weren't your fault, you reclaim the steering wheel of your life. Think of it like this. If you're sitting in a boat and the current is pulling you the wrong way, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to pick up the oars. Responsibility is your oar. Without it, life drifts. With it, life moves. So reflect for a moment. Where in your life do you need to pick up the oars again? What you don't change, you choose. This is the lesson Jim said he learned far too late. But once he understood it, his entire philosophy changed. What you tolerate becomes your pattern. What you allow becomes your lifestyle. What you ignore becomes your regret. Most people don't choose mediocrity, they simply never choose to rise above it. Imagine someone living in a house with a small drip in the ceiling. It's annoying at first, but manageable. One day turns into 1 week, and eventually they stop noticing it altogether. The drip didn't disappear. They just grew accustomed to it. Life works the same way. If you don't fix the leak, you learn to live with it. But the cost comes later. So let me ask you a powerful question. What leak in your life have you been tolerating, and when will you finally fix it? Because the moment you decide to change, your future begins to change with you. Chatteras, your direction matters more than your speed. When you finally recognize the leaks in your life, something interesting happens. You begin to see how much of your future is shaped not by dramatic choices, but by quiet, consistent behavior. This leads us to Jim Rohn's next great lesson. Your direction matters more than your speed. Most people are in a hurry. They're rushing, moving fast, trying to get somewhere, but they never stop to ask, where am I actually going? Jim Rohn often compared life to a ladder leaning against a wall. He said, it doesn't matter how fast you climb if the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. Think about that for a moment. You can be busy yet not productive. You can be active yet not advancing. You can be moving, yet not moving forward. We all know someone who works tirelessly but never progresses, not because they lack effort, but because they lack direction. Let me ask you, is your ladder leaning against the right wall? Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop climbing long enough to reposition your ladder. The secret to growth is found in your daily routine. Jim Rohn famously said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day." Not occasionally, not when it's convenient. Every day. Because consistency turns small habits into unstoppable momentum. Imagine two people each holding a jar. One drops in a marble every time they learn something new. The other drops in a marble every time they waste time. 1 year later, those jars tell very different stories. That's how habits work. They don't shout, they whisper. They don't transform you in a week. They transform you quietly over time. And then, suddenly, unmistakably. So here are a few simple habits Jim believed could change anyone's life. Read 10 pages of a good book daily. Write your goals every morning. Reflect for 5 minutes every night. Invest in your skills weekly. These aren't massive tasks. They're small. But small doesn't mean insignificant. Remember this. The future is built in small, invisible steps that no one applauds until the results show. So ask yourself, what habit could you start today that your future self will thank you for? Abraham, don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. This lesson took Jim years to internalize. For a long time, he wished life would soften and get easier. But eventually, he discovered a deeper truth. Life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. Your challenges aren't here to defeat you. They're here to develop you. Think of a video game. When you improve your character, stronger, smarter, more skilled, the obstacles don't go away, but they become manageable. The person you become by overcoming them is worth far more than anything you gain. So ask yourself, what skill, if you developed it, would eliminate half of your current problems? Communication, discipline, focus, financial literacy. Your problems shrink when the units grow. Tato, your life changes the moment you change. You are beginning to see how each of these ideas connects. Responsibility, direction, habits, skills. Together, they build the foundation for transformation. And that brings us to the final critical mindset shift. Jim Rohn used to say, for things to change, you have to change. Not the weather, not the economy, not the world around you. You. He believed that personal change was the most powerful force on the planet. Because the moment you change your standards, your behavior changes. And when your behavior changes, your life can't stay the same. Think of a thermostat in your home. If the temperature changes, the thermostat reacts automatically, adjusting the environment back to its setting. Your mind works the same way. If your internal setting is low, you will always drift back to old results. But raise your setting, your expectations, your goals, your identity, and suddenly your behavior rises to match it. This is why some people transform so quickly. They don't just change what they do, they change who they are. So ask yourself, what internal setting have you allowed to stay too low for too long? Identity is the master key of success. Jim Rohn often said that success is not something you pursue, it's something you attract by becoming the right person. Your identity shapes your actions long before your actions shape your results. The strongest force in human behavior is the desire to stay consistent with how you see yourself. So here's the truth. You don't need more motivation, you need a new identity. The moment you shift from, I hope I can, to, I do this, everything changes. Let me ask you, if you were already the person you aspire to be, how would you act today? How would you speak? What would you pursue? Live from that identity, even in small ways, and your life will begin to shift. compound effect of becoming better. Jim Rohn believed that the smallest increase in your value creates the largest increase in your results. He used to say, "Work harder on yourself than you do on your job." Because if you grow, you win. If you get better, your world expands. If you improve, everything around you improves with you. Imagine holding two arrows. One is aimed just 1 degree higher than the other, over miles. Those two arrows end up in completely different destinations. That's your life. Improve by 1 small degree each day, and your future becomes unrecognizable. A better mindset, a stronger discipline, a clearer direction, a refined identity. These things don't explode overnight. They compound, they multiply, they transform your destiny quietly. And then all at once. So ask yourself, what's one small improvement you can make today that could shift the course of your next 5 years? Your life changes the moment you decide. Jim Rohn spent decades discovering a truth that he eventually condensed into a simple message. Your life changes the moment you decide to change yourself. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today, in this moment, with this decision, right now. Your habits, your direction, your identity, your skills, they are all waiting for you to take ownership. If you do these, wealth, success, confidence, opportunity, they won't be things you chase anymore. They'll be things you naturally attract. Now I want to hear from you. Are you ready to grow? Are you taking action? What's one habit you'll start today? Comment below. I'm ready to grow. I'm taking action. Here's one habit I'll start today. Your next chapter starts with one decision, and you just made it.